Alright, well that's a lot more people than I've ever seen. Hello to everyone who's new and welcome back to those of you who've been here before. I'm glad to see that my last video got so much positive attention. I've watched that video grow over the last week, which you can watch if you click in the little card in the top right corner. And I'm incredibly proud and happy that it's gotten to where it is because I love sharing my enjoyment of music with people. So I figured, why not share some more of my favorite music with people? Welcome to this new series that I'm calling Album Spotlight. Basically, I'm just going to go through some of my personal favorite albums. Some of them are going to be more widely known, like 21 Pilots, and some of them are going to be a bit more unknown artists who I feel deserve more listens. For the first episode, we're going to have a look here at an example of the latter with Racquet Club's 2017 self-titled album. I have a feeling that many people don't know who Racquet Club are based on them only having about 2,000 Spotify monthly listeners, so why don't we have a look at them real quick before we get into the album. Racquet Club is a band made up of a mishmash of 90s and 2000s indie rock, grunge, punk, and emo performers. Two of their members, frontman Blair Sheehan and drummer Bob Penn, worked together in the Jealous Sound, a band which broke up a month prior to Racquet Club's formation. The two also recruited guitarist Sergei Lubkov from punk rock band Sam I Am. Quick little side note, Lubkov had previously worked with Sheehan and rock band Knapsack in the mid to late 1990s. The final member, bassist Ian Smith, known for being part of one of Hong Kong's earliest punk rock bands, Pregnant Men, hadn't previously worked with any of the members prior to the formation of the Northern California-based band. Racquet Club is the band's first and only album released on September 29th, 2017. It takes that grungy, emo, and punk sound of the 90s and early 2000s and brings it into a new decade for a newer audience and polishes it up quite a bit. This album definitely has grunge, punk, and emo elements to it, but listening to it, you can tell it's more influenced by cleaner rock from the modern era. With all that junk out of the way, we can jump right into the music now. Caldwell Park opens to Lubkov, Smith, and Penn combining to create a nice, raw rock sound. The lyrics of this song delve into a major theme of nostalgia for Sheehan. For example, during the chorus especially, he dives into the remembrance of when he was young, how he and all his friends were outcasts. Don't you remember when we were young? And we were punks and skins and redheads. He also references Dieselhorst Bridge, which crosses the Sacramento River, harkening back to the Northern California roots of the band. Personally, I find it to be one of the stronger tracks on the album, introducing the listener to the intonation of Sheehan's vocals, which they'll become very acquainted with over the course of the album. To his detriment, the frontman doesn't particularly have the best vocal range, so the melodies do sometimes get repetitive over the course of the album, but they all combine well with the backing instrumentals to create a really great sound overall. The second of 10 tracks on this album, this one is a lot slower and showcases the more emo side of the band's origins. The song is about finding beauty in the most awful or dire of situations, or rather letting it find you instead. Some of the lyrics on this track are actually some of the worst I've seen in a long while. Like, really, really not good. The verses feel forced just to get to the chorus. Take this 4-line run here, for example. Yeah, that's what I mean. Head Full of Bees takes a lot of the emo aspects of Let Beauty Find You and amplifies them with a touch of grunginess. Sheehan's lyrics speak of a relationship of his coming to an end. Lyrics like, and especially the closing lines of the song before it abruptly ends. watch the boundaries disappear. Here we get another more emo-sounding song, though the lyrics on the surface read a lot more upbeat or wholesome. He sings about what I can only assume to be the relationship which ended in the previous song, and how he's still so infatuated with them that he'd still follow that person to the end of the world. But there's some lyrics that show what's really going on, such as this one. Sheehan wasn't being trustworthy with his partner, obviously, which we can suppose leads to the events that occur in the previous track. They break off their relationship, and Sheehan is now once again alone. Leave the pain on the battlefield. Battlefield is a song about a relationship that Sheehan begins after his previous one. He talks about how they've both been waiting for someone they hope will come back, but just isn't. So they begin casually doing things together, like going for drives and playing cards and doing recreational drugs. He says, "You're nothing like her, and I'm not much like him. We begin." By the end of the song, they're talking to each other about the fights and the bad parts about their past relationships, and how they've got 1,000,001 days and nights to talk. The sixth song on the LP, Blood on the Moon, takes a more grunge sound during the verses before reverting back into the clean emo sound we've heard throughout the album. Based on the lyrics, we can assume that this new relationship is going well for Sheehan. You are now my familiar. Oh, me. You are now my familiar. Oh, me. But he's still having doubts about being able to provide anything for it. And on top of all of that, in trying to better this relationship and get to a better spot, he feels the person he's with is suffering because of him. Just something to be strong for. The cost of things you didn't know that you could lose. Can make you believe. We again find an emo sound with the instrumentals on this track, which I'm starting to think I should have just labeled that rather than just a rock album, but oh well, we're here now. The opening line of this song is extremely self-deprecating. We just began, so trust me when I say, just do all you can. Sheehan is basically telling this person that as soon as the relationship began, everything would immediately go downhill for them. He's in his own head about how he can't be anything good for this new person based on his past relationships. If this isn't what you need, you're just following my lead. Let's put this to bed. And he's obsessed with the idea that this person doesn't really want to be with him, and that their relationship is just a chore to her. It's a penance or a chore. If you don't want this anymore, I can't make you believe. Eventually, he just tries to break it off again, meaning this is the second time during the album that Sheehan is ready to end a relationship. I feel the drag, I watch you drift. Can't you see this as a gift? And give up control. I can't help feeling dumb, broken-hearted and defeated. Are we done? But as we see in the next song, they didn't break it off, even though the frontman's feelings continue on throughout. This song is the first time in a while that we've really slowed down the sound, not since Let Beauty Find You actually, and the lyrics are more accepting that their relationship is never going to be perfect. He realizes now that this woman is the spark that lit his match and let him let go of his past, at least somewhat. She is his blue skies. This relationship is his blue skies. And I never tried, but then I opened up my eyes. And I saw blue sky. Oh, and we also finally get a name for this woman. Oh, Carolina, you took your father's sins. With be completely honest here, it's really difficult for me to pin down exactly what this song is about. Like, there are so many different topics here that it could be about. The first one that comes to my mind from the lyrics is that it's about Sheehan's relationship with God.
You weren't holding back the waters, you were holding back the truth. And we are all your sons and daughters, so tell me what's the use.
But this could also be about the government and war if we take the previous lyric in that context and add this one on top of it.
Look at what they came for, blood in the stands, and all these wars we never wanted, for so much cash you'll never spend.
But even that could be wrong, because there's still my personal favorite theory. Remember the line where we learned about this new partner's name from the last song? Well, I think this song could also be about Sheehan getting into arguments with his partner's father over the future of their relationship.
We're the kids of New Granada, the weeds are overgrown, these little things you couldn't bother with. If only we'd known you're not fighting.
Sheehan and his partner are the kids of New Granada. They've been hiding their relationship from his girlfriend's father because she knows what he'd do if they found out about them, hence the weeds are overgrown to hide them. The father couldn't be bothered with his daughter, and he couldn't be bothered with working out his problems. And the part that really makes me think that this is what it could be about is that he's trying to take her away from him. He's using his power as a father to keep his daughter away from Sheehan. He's not fighting fair.
You were white knuckles.
Okay, so this is my favorite song off of the whole album, purely because it's such an effective closing song given the story we've been told over the course of the album. In this song, I think Sheehan finally comes around that he's worthy of having a good relationship.
Surrounds me. I didn't have the words or ways to take them back.
Problem is, now his partner is worried that she isn't good enough for him anymore. She's terrified to make any decisions when it comes to their relationship now because she doesn't want to upset either him or her father.
Are you in or you out and just waiting around? White knuckles, yeah, but it wears you down.
At the end of the day, neither of them know where this relationship is going, but neither of them want to let go either, giving a whole new meaning to the title and to the album as a whole. And with that, I bid you good day, good evening, or good night.